Hello world, welcome back to Accelerate and welcome to Summer Action Day 2024 at Combe Circuit. We've been invited down by Ignition Legion to be on their stand and we are going to have a walk around. Unusually for a British day, the sun is shining. We are going to start off on the Ignition Legion stand and of course we're going to start with Tory's absolutely bonkers classic Scooby wagon. And yes, obviously there is Scooby-Doo there. It has to be the purple accents on this. And what I love about this, not only is it a wagon with a wide arch, I don't think I've ever seen these wide arches. The purple really pops in the sun and you could probably fit a dog up there. So yeah, that definitely passes the JDM test. And then next to that, we've got Simon's, her partners. Oh, and of course, there's going to be pops and bangs. New to them, they've only had this about a week and a half, Subaru Legacy with the 3-litre flat 6, very typical Subaru layout. I've always said the Legacy is like the grown-up sensible version of the Scooby. It is quite a colourful stand, I've got to admit. Beautiful orange on the Megane RS there. Obviously yellow is the best colour for any car. I do like the E90 chassis with the 5 Series Spider wheels. Now, you guys will know we featured a Golf R in this colour, and if I was to buy one, I think that's the colour I'd have, because it is definitely the rarer one, and in the sun, it looks beautiful. You guys will know I have a soft spot for the EJ EK Civic. That is nuts. I do like the wide arches on that. Obviously, Georgia lost her mind when she saw this coming in. That is a really good example of a Hawkeye Scooby. I love the old Audi 80s. I love seeing cars like that. DS3 seemed to be a popular one as well, and in the white does look very good. This one caught my eye. The Accord Type R used to be able to pick these up for pennies, but I think people are finally realising the potential of the H22 engine that it comes with, and they've unfortunately shot up in price. E36 tucked away, we've got the new GTI. Honestly, the variety on stand here, and this is the first time we've been with Ignition Legion, and they are so welcoming, so nice, so we would highly recommend. Big day for Georgia. We came down in Georgia, Salika. First show she's taken it to, and we literally late last night put the wheels on. Ignore the fitments, we are trying to figure out how much we need to space them out and the wheel nuts and things like that, but she's done us proud. Well then, those that know me will know my first car was a K11 Micro, so I've still got a soft spot for them. Pre-facelift K11 there. The thing I love about Micros, you can modify them in any way that you want and it just works. The Micro community will accept you. I always forget the name of this colour. This is like a special edition Micro. I have never seen that grille before. Very nice Bentley Rolls-Royce-esque looking grille. And some more cars that mean a lot to me. Everyone knows I love an MX-5, especially one when it's got a wing like that. And I saw them sound testing it, so I'm assuming this is going out on track. I've had many a Saxo in my time, always wanted a 106. I was actually involved in a crash with one of these, Liam, if you're watching. Yes, I still remember. These things I absolutely love. Another one there that are shooting up in price, but these things, the Quicksilver, I'm sure I saw a 16-valve engine under there, so underrated. And as I said, we're on stand with Ignition Legion. Here they are, all these lovely people, and this is what the club is about. Very chilled times and all about cars. This is probably one of my favourite cars on the stand. I saw this as we come in. I love an SW20 MR2, but the way this is done, the more you look at it, the more details you see. The cutout in the wide arch in the front, that little detail just there, this just sits. Again, if I were to build an SW20, I think I would just take a photo of this and absolutely copy it. Oh, I want an MR2. There are very few modern cars, or new cars, that I would consider buying, and the GT86/BRZ is one of them. Lovely example there, and an even crazier example over there we'll get to in a minute. This one we've seen at a few shows. This will annoy the purists. This is a 240Z with, that should give you a hint, what I'm assuming is a 2JZ stroked out to a 3.1, and this caught my eye a mile away. Now this used to be Andrew's Saxo. He has now sold it on, but it's so nice seeing this thing back to life. It's now owned by Tom Mods Things. He's got a few crazy cars himself. It's great seeing this at show, being brought back to life and still being used as a show car, because you do not see cars like this. I'm so glad the Max Power era is coming back. That against some normal traffic does look crazy. I absolutely love my K cars. Daihatsu Combe there with the right coloured interior. Someone spilled a load of paint over these cars there. The matte black looks cool with all the splatters. A lot of people do with the white. It looks cool with the black. Now this, why on earth this is tucked away, I don't know. Particularly under the tree, that's a bold move, because this is one of the cleanest 944s I've ever seen on the correct wheels. That is the exact wheels I would have. That is a beaut. And right next to it, a very nice Golf GTI. Now, if I were to have one, and when we featured one, I would love one as a daily. That colour is probably the one I would choose. This is the BRZ, I'm not American, BRZ I was referring to. There's so much now, so the aftermarket for these is getting a bit crazy. This is one of my favourite kits I think I've seen so far. That looks so aggressive. And we've obviously got his drift friend next to it. 350 edge you can never go wrong with. Fiestas have always been a statement of the UK car scene, and the Mark 8s seem to be taking over. And the more I'm seeing them, I'm actually really growing on the Mark 7s now. This is probably one of the craziest ones I've seen. I'm assuming it's on air because this poor fellow, yeah, he definitely wouldn't have side skirts if it wasn't. Bucket seats, you've got the flock dash and everything. The attention to detail on that. Okay, even though it wouldn't be what I would do to it, that is crazy. Here we are, John. So a beautiful example of a Mustang here. I think you should get some stickers, a livery inspired like this, but imagine Accelerate written there. Oh, yes. It's always special seeing an R34. We've seen this a few times now, and something tells me it's running 700 brake, and by the noise of it, I would believe that. And if one's not enough, there's actually a yellow one tucked away over there as well. It's always special seeing S chassis. The PS13 has got to be the rarest one. Don't know what it is about this one. It looks completely different to any other. Work equipped wheels. That is done so well. And I've just noticed as the sun was hitting the carbon on the back of the seats. I like that, that's very creative. And if I were to keep my S2000, this is probably the style I was going to go for, but my wallet wouldn't allow me. But that colour with the red Recaros and the carbon glistening, hats off to you, sir. As much as I always say I prefer the Series 2 over the Series 1, seeing a Series 1 is always incredible. And of course, it wouldn't be a show without seeing a few chasers. So we got Scott's Chaser here, absolutely beautiful example. And the kit that everyone seems to run on these is beautiful. This is how they should have come from the factory. Mad excited. I'm pretty sure they're relatively new. The SSR wheels, that just sits beautiful. Oh, and I like what he's done with the interior. He's gone for the VIP wood trim. Okay, I really like that. And going from a Chaser, we come onto a car that you guys have definitely seen before. This is Ben's Chaser. God, I did it again. This is Ben's JZX90. This is very different to when we had it on the channel. It is now pushing a confirmed 540 brake horsepower. It sounded like an absolute savage coming in, and he has confirmed we can have it back on the channel to show you the differences between 540 horsepower and around 280 horsepower. So although we were gutted Gav didn't bring the Scooby, there's a reason he brings a 350, and that's because he takes it on track. Good luck! No drifting! And of course you can't see one yellow car without the one seen behind it. Hooray! Martin is now running AR1s. I'm very curious to see. He's gone from PS5 to AR1, so we'll catch up with him later. Obviously I love an R33, and as the years go by I love the non-GTR ones, and I love it when people don't try and make them look like GTRs. That is an R33 GTS-T or something like that, and it is proud of what it is, so I love that. There was one over here that caught my eye. Why this is sort of tucked away, I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce these. Does this say a Cordoba or something? But anything that looks like a touring car is winning in my books, and I've just noticed he's even stripped it all out. I would love to see this thing flying around track. That is cool. When was the last time you saw an S13 on standard wheels, standard kit and everything that hasn't been thrown into a bush sideways? That's awesome. And of course next to a Glanzer, which has always got my vote. Mad. We've seen this at a few shows. This is the S chassis that everyone seems to forget about. Still got the pop-up headlights. This is an S12 Sylvia, and does come, comes with the 1.8 turbo. To see one that clean is incredible. I'm not the best with old Volvos, but I know that is cool. So if anyone knows what this is, let me know. In fact, I'll just go around to the back. But that with the tent attached to it, that looks like sort of a Dakar rally inspired one. Once again, as much as I love an S chassis with massive body kits and everything like that, to see one that clean, that colour against the white wheels, that's beautiful. And it's even got the factory cream interior, which I've always been a fan of. I know a lot of people don't like them. What a beautiful example of an S14. Yeah, look where we go here. That's what mine looked like for about 20 minutes before we put all the stickers on it. Very clean looking Zafira over here, but what caught my eye, look at the detailing, the burn on the piping. Detail on that is crazy. There are loads of Abarths on the scene, and as we all know, they're very small cars, and just when you thought they couldn't get any smaller, they've done it. Now I saw this thing a mile away. This is probably one of my favorite cars of the whole show. A Cavalier Saloon on those wheels in black. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Parked next to probably one of the best shaped Cortinas you'll see, and probably one of the cleanest, on a Mark 1 Focus RS wheels. That's nuts. Now I love an E46. This is probably one of the craziest ones I've ever come across. If the lime green wasn't enough to get your attention, ironically, the darker carbon is what got me. Yep, that is genuine carbon. That whole front end is probably worth more than all of my cars. I would not want to drive that anywhere. And again, I'm hoping it's on air because that carbon won't last very long. I cannot believe how much these aged, how well these have aged. It's mad when you look at it. They're quite a simplistic design, but my God, did they absolutely nail the R32. There's a reason this thing is known as the original Godzilla. That is how an R32 should be modified. Can't ignore that bright yellowy 36 next to it. All right, now I'm going to say we've got some sort of Renault club over here. Mad colours everywhere you look, but this thing absolutely caught my eye. This is the Phase 2 V6 amongst this sea of amazing Renault colours. I don't think I've ever seen one in red, and you forget how wide these things are. And crazy thinking that is how they came from the factory. A common theme this year seems to be touring car inspiration, which I absolutely love because it seems to be the 90s generation. And again, I saw this a mile away with that livery. Wow. Now I've started recording. Is it because of the M1 something I? Is it that crazy Fiesta? Nope. It is because I can't remember the last time I saw a Mark 1 Punto. Yeah, I really like that. A car that I think is universally loved, the Escort Cosworth. And I've said it before, you never see subpar one, a sort of a rotted one or anything like that. They're always immaculate. Seeing one in this colour is not. I mean, look how comfy those seats are. They are factory. They don't make cars like this anymore. Absolute crazy performance, but you've still got the comfort. And let's face it, these days, wow. Oh, another one I love. I'm sure this is the one we saw before on the 209 GTI, 205 GTI wheels. It's now rocking the old four-spoke forward wheel. That is amazing. To see one that clean, and again, not trying to be an RS Turbo, that is awesome. Going back to my obsession with K11 Micras, this has got to be my favourite one so far. This is the kit I always wanted on mine, and I always wanted a preface with the kit. And I've only just noticed that. That is probably the best mod you can do to these things. Really wakes them up. The colour combination as well. I think I'm in love. This is why I love Micras. There's some crazy stuff over here on this stand. Another Micra with a turbo. And the dose pipe coming straight off the wacky colour on the engine bay. And it's been tucked. Look, there's nothing in that engine bay. The way that sits, that's almost like a VIP style. Leather seats. That is amazing. And what I believe is a very rare option, the rear lights. That's amazing. Another real special stand. So everyone's sort of favourite generation, the Mark 1, Mark 2 Escort, but mine, my dream car is sat right here. This Series 2, as I've said before, is my favourite. In this colour, it's absolutely stunning. I don't know if I'd want one that clean, because I'd never want to drive it. And you know it's clean when they got a mirror. But what a perfect example of one of my favourite cars. And of course, next to the Escort, we've got the bigger brother, the Sierra Cosworth, which, oh, look at the chrome work. Cosworth owners seem to have a thing about chrome, and it does work really well with them. Another popular section, we're walking over to the very colourful drift section. The variety here, I mean, most of them are S chassis, but look how wacky they all look. When you've got a drift car, you have to make it stand out on track. The colour on that, when the sun hits that beautiful red S14A, the stance on some of these cars is incredible. We have got a very special one coming up. That has been going for years. That thing sounds insane. Now, funny story with this, I've actually been out in this during a drift session, and on the session I went out, it actually blew up. So I'm assuming he's got the engine fixed, because I know it was a big build to get it built and then it blew up. Another controversial opinion, people seem to love the Sierra Cosworth. I actually lean more towards the Sapphire Cosworth, which is, of course, the saloon version. There's just something about the proportions that really satisfies me, and I sort of grew up around this generation, so that is special. And another one that seems to die off, but they seem to be coming back, people seem to be putting some love into them, is the Street KA. And I gotta say, on the Escort wheels, I hate to say, I really like that. Another one I nearly missed because of just how subtle they are, the Mark 6 Escort. Again, a car that you could basically pick up for £100 back in the day because no one wanted them. They rusted for fun, so to see one this clean at a show, and it is an RS2000. Holy cow, I've just realised on the back, I didn't even know that was a thing. Making our way to the trade stand section, I wanted to point this out, R33, I'm sure I've seen this on Instagram. I thought, oh, you know, it's a Stan Star 33, that's pretty cool. And then I saw it go, and I'm sure I've read somewhere, yeah, that backs it up. This is running about 700, oh, let's have a look. Okay, I was completely wrong. 941 horsepower and 705 foot-pound of torque in a car that I would say looks like a garage queen, I'm not gonna lie, so massive hats off to that. I feel like if you mention a classic Mini to anyone, they will have a story one way or another, so this feels pretty cool to be completely surrounded by them. And again, we've actually featured a classic Mini, and I can tell you they are as fun to drive as they look. The one we featured wasn't even the Cooper, the crazy hot one, but even then, nothing but a smile on my face. Look who's driving past just there, Phil. I don't think he's noticed me. So there's a few mad ones, but the cabriolet ones always get me. Because of the light interior, this does not look small at all. The light colour's really opened that up, but that just looks nuts. Just as we were about to leave the Mini section, not so mini, look how wide that thing is. That's insane. I feel like I never see black 3-door Sierra Cosworths. And on the AZEV wheels with the red calipers, that looks absolutely insane. I'm guessing we're in another Ford section because we got an Escort Cosworth just there. And again, my soft spot, the Sapphire Cosworth, and the quality of some of these cars is unbelievable. I wouldn't want to drive most of these. This is one I always love to mention. I mention it every show. Massive shout out to DP Motorsport. This is the one I raced many years ago in my Celica. I believe it was running around 680 brake at the time. Straight cut box. If you want to hear it go, we've got a short on this. Another one to upset the purists. Yeah, that's going to upset a few people. I mean, I approve of it, don't get me wrong, but that's cool. Mad shade of pink. There's so many different pink cars on the scene. I actually quite like that. It's very subtle, and love heart seems to be a theme on the car. Wow, the original Japanese supercar. Now back in the day, these were competing with the Ferrari 360. So any mad person that chose this, beautiful color combo. I applaud, because to choose a Honda over a Ferrari, you must have been mad back in the day, but today I can understand why. And look what we've got here. I have literally just jumped out of a Mark II Golf 20 valve turbo, and we've got here a Mark II Golf powered by a 20 valve turbo. This is obviously the small bumper, so you can see the difference between this one and Ben's. This color is beautiful. Now, in case you haven't guessed, we are on the Show and Shine. Very unusual to see what I'm assuming is like a drift-inspired PS13 looking absolutely gleaming, earning its spot on the Show and Shine. I don't think I've seen this one before. So to see that on there and not drifting on track, that's amazing. Next up, we've got the second best Civic EK EJ, Shan's K20 swap. Yes, this is a genuine EK9. We have done a video on this very, very early on actually, and it is still as clean. She has just put the new wheels on, as clean as it's ever been. She absolutely obsesses over cleaning this thing, but we highly recommend either going to watch the video or seeing it in Instagram. But if you get a chance to see it in person, do it, because you can only appreciate the detail in person. And next to it, talk about variety. One that we've seen a few times at Combe, Renault 5 GT Turbo, very max power style. The fleck in the paint, again, you could probably only appreciate in person, but to see something like that these days is amazing. And I've seen this before, and again, I've said this is not my style, but the color, the purple against the carbon, is beautiful, and the way it sits obviously is a bit mad. Moving on, yes, I am a big fan of this. Obviously, this may surprise you. Not only is it my favorite generation of MX-5, ironically got my favorite wheels, which you usually see on German cars. They're sort of BBS LM replica wheels, which are amazing, but it does kind of work on the MX-5. I'm quite surprised. This would look lovely next to my EJ9 Civic. I absolutely love a Mark II CRS. Kenny's had a couple of these back in the day, about 100 years ago, back when he was 18. Incredibly clean Beetle, and this may shock you. Yep, for those that don't know, the engine is in the back, and these are air-cooled. It is one of the... Oh, okay, it used to be. That is something I wasn't expecting to see hanging out of the rear. I would love to know some more details on this, but even as a show car, that's insane. But to see that hanging out the back, that is incredible. I've always said, if you want a supercar, but you want to be a bit different and a bit more special, get an NSX. And I gotta say, if I had one, I would modify it like that. That is how an NSX should be modified. Not only do I always love carbon on black, but then sat next to you've got the polar opposite, a white Scirocco sitting beautifully on the rotor wheels. I've always loved that shape. I haven't actually seen this in person, but I'm going to assume that this is Dean Dupp's Ford Fiesta. I have seen on social medias that he's got a crazy Fiesta like that. I mean, I'm assuming it is. It's got to be. In person, this thing is nuts. And as I said, the Mark 7s are growing on me. Look at the width on that thing. Wow. I am seriously becoming a fast forward fan, obviously. Series 2, we've got the Sapphire, another Series 2. And one thing that's been missing, that I'm glad is here, Mark 3 Fiestas. The Mark 2, Mark 3 has always been my favourite. So to see these examples, I love the SI bumpers on that. Absolutely, oh, I am in heaven around here. And again, I'm guessing we're at a Ford section. Apologies for the guy talking over me. Ooh, an F-150 as well, wow. That's mad. This is one, I've actually driven that car. This is the one we did a full review on. This car really impressed me for a standard RX-8. And what I noticed here is an MX-5 attached to a chassis mount wing. Very rare these days to see a completely standard Supra still repping the original 5-spoke wheels. The active aero is on show just there. The colour is beautiful. I really want to know what this colour is. It's got like a copper tint to it. To see one in that case, and I've always said I'm into modifying cars, my Supra was modified, but to see one like that, that's beautiful. And on the opposite end of the scale on this Supra, This is, you've probably seen this, it's quite famous on YouTube, 1,000 horsepower Supra, so you could either go OEM like that or go the complete opposite, and you can tell just by looking at those that that's definitely running more than standard power. Some more JDM royalty over here. Another beautiful example of a Supra. I love the blue on the Supras. Marks Evo 6. Incredible to see these days, and that looks like it gets driven, fair play, with the more pale blue. I've seen this one at many events too. The pearl against the carbon works really well, and to throw something completely different into the mix, these are parked next to a Ram. You will not gauge just how big these things are. Dodge Ram SRT10, and the SRT10 means, yep, it's powered by the Viper 8-litre V10. In something like that, it is absolutely huge. Okay, so I was looking at this. We all know I love Escorts. Correct me if I'm wrong, are they sort of Mexico-inspired wide arches? Because I have never seen that before, and it kind of works. It's sort of like an homage back to the earlier generations. They're so immaculate. Oh, nice little bit of wood trim there. Must be the posh version. And next to, we actually saw these on the way down. Nova and a Nova Saloon. Another car, I always say I'm not a Vauxhall fan, but that is another car I would love to own. The Saloons are now incredibly rare. These things are incredible sleepers. Although they're not to my taste visually, you can't deny. You would not expect, yep, there's a turbo tucked in there. And we've got the Colts as well. I just love how unassuming they are. Obviously Evo 9 sort of inspired front end on them, but you would not expect these to be packing a turbo. So anytime I pull up next to one of these, I do think twice about racing them. Another 90s JDM classic. Another Pulsar, looking extremely clean. Nismo carbon cover there, spark plug cover. These things are just so special. They've always been quite rare, so these days they are incredibly rare. Sticking to the JDM theme, this is a car I've always loved. These are the only sort of JDM cars I think are still reasonably priced. The 300ZX, they do come in the twin turbo format as well, V6. So for that sort of performance and 90s JDM, I think they're still affordable. And another one here that people forget, some JDM royalty, what I believe to be a Toyota Crown. This is the much more modern version of the one that we featured. Yes, it is a Crown, but still looks awesome. So we obviously had to feature this Markman TT. Kenny, this is for you. That has got to be one of the craziest ones I've seen, giving me max power vibes. We're again seeing them these days, and I've been told I got to feature this TTS, just ignore all the stone chips on the front. Now, 9 times out of 10 when you see an IS200, they're usually bolted together with cable ties, sliding round roundabouts. This one really caught my eye, A, because it's a wagon, which is rare in itself, but the way this sits is crazy, and he's gone a bit bold with the body coloured matching wheels. I really like that. I love what the IS, the dials, I don't know if you can see, they've been inspired by a watch, which is a nice little nerdy fact for you. I thought this was a Civic Jordan until I saw the back end. It is in fact a coupe. I really miss my coupes. And I really like it with that spoiler on as well. JDM seems to be a theme of this section of the show. One of my all-time favourites, the RX-7. Always adored these things, and then I drove one. And if you ever get the opportunity, they do not disappoint. I adore these things, and especially when they're subtly done like that, in that colour, that is beautiful. And of course we got Jade's K20 swapped, EK I believe it is, or it might be an EJ9. All I'm going to say is D-Series is better than K. Nah. I love how back in the day Nissan Sunnies were sort of laughed upon, but these days, especially when you slap a set of cool JDM wheels like that, they have become so cool. I would love to own something like that. And we've got potentially the best car here. Yes, I may be a bit biased, but that's because our main man Gav obviously representing us on his latest purchase, on his latest livery. This is his wide body 350Z. He has been out on track in this, and this is the car he's chosen to learn to drift, and Gav being Gav actually got it painted, got all of the work done before he learned how to drift. Yes, well done Gav. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. Martin's bright yellow Abarth, and as I said previously, he's gone from PS5s to AR1s, and I didn't realise he'd gone for nice little wheels. Now, Abarths always have big, I say big, 16-inch wheels, which always look big. I love the look, the track look of those little, what I'm assuming are 15s, wrapped in the AR1s. And what I love about this car, you probably can't see, he has got the colour-matched cage along with the harnesses. And of course, that's why he goes so fast around there. Going back to 300ZXs, like I said, I think these are so underappreciated. This is one I haven't seen before in white. It looks incredible. And a massive dish on those wheels. It's quite a big car, I didn't realise. I've always got a soft spot for these things in white. The one that we featured, Adams, was obviously white. Oh, what a beautiful example. That sits lovely. Like I said, I've obviously got a spot for, oh wow. E34s, again, probably one of, well, I think the best 5 Series shape ever. and in that spec, the rondel wheels in that colour. That's beautiful. I was wondering where Team PH were. As soon as I saw this thing a mile away, this is obviously UJ's R35. I love the colour on this thing, works so well. And just little things like the little side skirt extension. This crazy R33 we noticed over here next to the classic GC8 in green. Their stand is always looking fresh. Our favourite Mark III TT. Dave's carbon covered one is absolutely amazing. We did a video on this a while back when, before he had a lot of the carbon work done, he's just always tinkering with this thing and it looks stunning. I think it's a crime that all of these amazing MX-5s are tucked here all the way. I love them in yellow. Mark II, even just with a little lip there, looking good. Adore the colour on that. I believe that's the Merlot colour. Supercharged one over there. This one I wanted to take a look at. Now I'm trying to sort of design what I want to do with my bonnet. I like the design on that. It is functional and it's carbon. As with any Combe show, they do hand out awards towards the end of the day. And this we've got in front of us actually won Car of the Show. Now, you'd look at that and think, oh, it's just a Mark 7 Fiesta. I can tell you it is far from that. This is Dean Dupp's. I'm not going to tell you what's powering it, but this is Dean Dupp's Mark 7 Fiesta. And if we look under here, I'll give you a few seconds to try and guess what it is. You will never guess what it is. That is a 1000cc Fireblade engine with a supercharger attached to it. And Dean says even with a supercharger, it does rev to 12,000 RPM quite happily. And he's given me permission to take a look inside. As I said, there is not much left. I can already hear myself echoing. There is not much Fiesta left on this thing. It is absolutely insane and well deserving of Car of the Show, because even the suspension, everything is sort of one-off, built for this car, and it's just incredible to see. So that is well deserved. And you probably know Dean Dupp for his twin charged 1000 brake Evo with the orange wheels. So that is sort of his thing, but I think you'd agree that looks mental. That was Summer Action Day 2024 at Castle Combe Circuit. I want to say a massive thank you to Tori and Simon from Ignition Legion for inviting us down and letting us be part of their stand. We are going to be having a stand as Accelerate at Forge Action Day, so if you want to get involved, join us on the Facebook group or message us via Instagram. But for now, thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Boom! Boom.